All right, this is section 1.6, the worksheet voiceover. Many times in multiple choice, as I've been mentioning all through this series, sometimes you can look at the answers and then find two that don't make any sense and just omit those from your choices. First thing I notice here is I got a strict inequality, strictly less than. All right, less than or greater than. Strict inequalities are associated when you graph them or on interval notation with parentheses. I see a bracket here. It can't be letter A. Strict inequality is always associated with a parenthesis. That's a bracket. I see another bracket down here. It can't be letter D. All right, strict inequalities are. So what I've done for myself here, I started out with a 1 in 4 chance of getting this right. Now I'm down to a 1 in 2, 50-50 chance, just by using some common sense here. All right, so which one is it, B or C? Let's see if we can do it right here. Y minus 5 less than a negative 8. So I'm going to bring the negative 5 onto the other side. Y is less than a negative 8 plus 5. Notice the direction of the inequality didn't reverse itself. All I did was add 5 on both sides. Nothing's going to happen unless I happen to divide or multiply by a negative. I'm adding on both sides. So this remains in the same direction, less than. Negative 8 plus 5 is a negative 3. Y is less than negative 3. So it's going that way, less than. All right. There it is, less than negative 3. Now, what was the other answer? This guy here was going larger, greater than. I'm going less than. I'm going to my left. Pretty easy. Letter B. All right, using the same psychology plan here, I've got less than or equal to, which is always associated when you graph it, or interval notation with a bracket. Got a bracket there, I got a bracket there. B and C both have, if I can slide this down, letter D both have parentheses. This is a less than or equal to. Less than or equal to. It's a bracket, so it's either going to be A or C. Can't be B, and it can't be letter D. So already I'm down to a 2 choices. I started out with a 1 in 4 chance. Now I'm 1 in 2 chance. So solving this, 9x minus 10 less than or equal to 8x minus 12. I'm going to bring the x term to my right and bring my constant to my left. So this would be 9x minus 8x less than a minus 12. This minus 10 goes on to the other side as positive. I've added 10 on both sides, and I've subtracted 8x on both sides. 9x subtract 8x is just x, less than. Minus 12 plus 10 combined is a minus 2. Signs are alike. Find the difference. Take the sign of the larger. X is less than 2, so we're going to the left, less than 2. Okay, I take that back. All right, it's a less than or equal to. All right, Mr. Gomes, make sure you. I knew it was going to be letter A or letter C because of the brackets. All right, less than or equal to. So, which way? That's going in the wrong direction. That's going greater than. All right, I want less than or equal to. Less than going to my left. Right here, going to my left, including negative 2, less than or equal to. All right, so that's number 2. It's the letter A. Number 3, what do we got? This using the same theory here. All right, I've got a greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal. The or equal to part means somehow it's associated with a bracket. All right, so I got a bracket here, a bracket there, a bracket there. So 3 of my 4 have brackets. This has a parenthesis, but no, it's a greater than or equal to. It's going to be associated with the bracket. I'm not sure which one it is, but I know it's not letter D because of the parenthesis. All right, so minus 12x plus 4 greater than or equal to 11x plus 2. I want to bring the x term over to the left and the constant term over to the right. Minus 12x just crosses over as a negative. Greater than or equal to, the 2's already there. The positive 4 goes on to the other side as a negative. I'm subtracting 4 here and subtracting 4 there. A minus and a minus is a minus. Minus 23x greater than or equal to positive 2 combined with a negative 4. Difference is 2. Take the sign of the larger. And what seems to be happening here? 12x plus 4. Where is it going on here? If I got this copied correctly, so I brought this over. Oh, no wonder I copied this wrong. That's a negative, and that happens, which makes this a positive. So you can see how easy it can happen. You're writing it down, and you just drop the minus sign. All right, which is what I did here. This was a negative 11, so I brought it over to the other side. It's a positive. All right. Minus 12x and a positive 11 is a negative x. Ah, okay. So I got this right. A positive 2 minus 4 is a minus 2. Now, I don't want to know about negative x. I want to know about positive x. I need to multiply through by a negative. But multiplying by a negative or dividing by a negative reverses the sign of the inequality. A negative times a negative is a positive. Less than or equal to negative times negative is positive. So what have I got here? X is less than or equal to 2. Well, this has got greater than 2, negative 2, excuse me. I'm not interested in negative 2. I want positive 2. This guy here has got 12 for some reason. I don't know how he got 12. And look at letter C. All right, a bracket at 2. And going to the left, less than or equal to. Number 3, letter C. Where he's getting 12 is beyond me, but then again, I didn't copy the minus sign like I should have, right? So who am I to make judgments? Strict inequality, greater than. Greater than is always associated with a parenthesis. He's getting smart now. He's using parenthesis on all of them, so I can't drop a couple out of a couple choices like I have in the first 3. So we'll just do it. 24x minus 24 greater than 4 times 5x minus 1. Let me distribute that right side. 24x minus 24 greater than, let's see, 4 times 5 is 20 times x is 20x. 4 times a minus 1 is a minus 4. Okay, I got that. 4 times a minus 1, minus 4. I'm going to bring the 20x over to the left side and bring the negative 24 to the right side. 24x, positive on the right. When I cross over, see, the greater than sign, less than sign, I can still bring things over and they still change signs. What I'm doing here is subtracting 20x on both sides here. Greater than, let's see, my minus 4 is sitting waiting for company. Here comes the minus 24, but gets to the right side, it's a positive. I've added 24 here and added 24 to both sides. 24x minus 20x, that's 4x. Greater than a minus and a positive. Difference is 20. Take the sign of the larger. Divide both sides by 4. 4's cancel. X is greater than 5. So I'm going to my right. Alright, and it's so this is, I'm not getting 24 out of this. This is going less than. This is going to the right, the correct way, but starting off at 24. Notice this starts at 5 and goes to the right. This is what I'm looking for. Values of x that are greater than 5, so it's a strict inequality. It's a parenthesis. Number 4, letter D. Number 5. All right. Here again, it's a strict inequality, which is associated with parentheses. That's got a bracket. Yeah, but I got to be careful here. Got to be careful because I've got a compound inequality. Notice I got one parenthesis, one strict inequality, and I got a less than or equal to. So I'm going to have a combination of a parenthesis and a bracket. All right, parenthesis for that and a bracket for that. Here I got two parentheses, so I can take b out of the mix. Here I got two brackets. I want to have one of each, all right? A parenthesis and a bracket. So there won't be two brackets. So that's kind of nice. I can discount, kick out B and C for choices. So it's either going to be A or D, just by kind of using some common sense. Minus 12 less than minus 4x, which in turn is less than equal to 4. All right. I want to get x by itself in the middle here. All right. So to get x by itself, I'm going to negate multiplication by negative 4. I'm going to divide everything through by negative 4. Now, in doing this, what's going to happen is the direction of the inequalities are going to reverse themselves. I'm dividing by a negative, so this less than is going to go to a greater than. This less than or equal to is going to go to a greater than or equal to. So these guys are going to cancel. That'll be x. Signs are the same. That's positive, positive 3. Signs are unlike. That's negative 1. Now, this kind of makes no sense. All right. I get 3 greater than x, which in turn is greater than or equal to. So what I'm going to do is just to flip this around. I'm going to say negative 1. There's my x, and there's my 3. All right. This went to the left. This went to the right. Now, when I do that, I've got to change those into the opposite direction. Alright, so I got values of x that lie between negative 1 and positive 3, but I can include the positive 3. So as I look at this, and what number is this? This is number 5. Number 5. Oh. What I did is when I swapped those, alright, when I swap that is a less than or equal to, that is just a greater than. So when I swap them, this guy goes here and that guy goes, this guy goes here and that guy goes there. Okay, fine. So between negative 1 and positive 3, including negative 1, letter A, includes negative 1 here, but doesn't include 3. Includes negative 1, but doesn't include 3. So when I flip-flop these, you know, this became there, and that went to the opposite direction. But this started out as a strict inequality. It's still strict inequality. This was not strict, and it's still not strict. All right, letter A, number 5. And once again here, I got less than or equal to, less than or equal to. Yeah, this may change, but it's all equal to, which means it's both brackets. This has two parentheses. That's got two parentheses. This has got two brackets. Notice that's a bracket and that's a bracket because of the or equal to. So it can't be A, nor can it be letter B. So it's either going to be C or D for number 6. So what have I got? Negative 1 less than 1/2 of x plus 1 less than or equal to 3. So negative 1 is less than or equal to 1/2 times x is 1/2 x. 1/2 times 1 is a positive 1/2. Less than or equal to 3. Let me subtract 1/2 everywhere. Subtract 1/2 here. Subtract 1/2 there, subtract 1/2 there. And I got a little dark all of a sudden. The 1/2s cancel out. A minus 1 combined with a minus half. Let's see. Somehow I fell asleep. Don't like that. A minus 1 combined with a minus is a minus 1.5 less than 1/2 x, which in turn is less than, let's see, 3 minus 1/2, that's 2.5. What would this be as a mixed number? A negative 3/2 less than 1/2 x, which in turn is less than 2.5. I'm going to call that 5/2. Now, what I've got to do here is to get rid of this negative, just coefficient of 1/2. I want to divide everything. All right, so I want to take minus 3/2 divided by 1/2, which would be less than. These guys are going to cancel out. Yeah, I'm dividing everything through by 1/2. So this guy divided by 1/2. These guys, the 1/2s cancel out. Less than x, which in turn is less than 5/2 divided by 1/2. Division means multiply by the reciprocal. So minus 3/2 times 1/2 less than x, which in turn is less than 5/2 times the reciprocal, which is 2/1. So I'm going to get a negative. Let's see. This is going to be a negative. Well, the reciprocal dividing by 1/2. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1. Okay, Mr. Gomes. Negative 3/2 divided by 1/2 is negative 3/2 times the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1. And I've got it right here. All right, the 2's are going to cancel out here. I'm going to have a negative 3/1, which is simply a negative 3, less than x. The 2's will cancel out. 5/1 here will be 5. So I want all the values. And where did I lose my less than or equal to? I lost it there. I lost it there. I lost it there. All right, because I started out with a less than or equal to. As a matter of fact, all of this is less than or equal to. All right, because I knew I had to have a bracket in a bracket. All right, so between negative 3 and 5, everything is included. Between negative 3 and 5. Between negative 3 and 5. All right. All right, so in my zest to get this kind of doing it step by step, the obvious is if you start out with a less than or equal to, you're going to end up with a less than or equal to. So apologize for that, but it'd be nice if I was doing this on purpose, but I am not. But trust me, if I can do it here, it can happen to you. So maybe it's a good thing that I'm showing you some mistakes, and not on purpose. But it does kind of point out that things to be looking out for. And what have I got? I got one of each: a strict inequality, a parenthesis, and a bracket. A parenthesis and a bracket. A parenthesis and a bracket. A parenthesis. No, I got 2 parentheses. Can't be C. This has 2 brackets. I'm going to have one of each: a parenthesis for the strict inequality and a bracket for the less than or equal to. So at least I'm down to 2 choices anyways. So what do we got here? Negative 9 less than 2x plus 3, which in turn is less than or equal to a negative 1. Let me subtract 3 everywhere. Negative and a negative is a negative. Less than, these guys cancel out. 2x, which is less than or equal to. A negative and combined with a negative is a negative, negative 4. I'm going to divide everything through by 2. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6, less than, these 2's cancel out, which in turn is less than or equal to. Signs are unlike negative. So I'm going between, and here, okay, I'm going between a negative 6 and a negative 2, and everything in between. But notice, this is a parenthesis at negative 6, and it's a bracket at negative 2. This has it just in the opposite way. This has a bracket at negative 6. No, it's a strict inequality. It's a parenthesis at negative 6. So, number 7 is indeed letter B. Number 8, what do we got here? We got one of each: a strict inequality and a non-strict, I can call that, I guess. All that means is that one end of the inequality will be a parenthesis and one's going to be a bracket. Parenthesis, bracket, parenthesis, bracket, parenthesis, bracket, parenthesis. Well, all 4 in the running, A, B, C, and D. They all have one of each. All right. So 2 is less than 1 minus 4x, which in turn is less than or equal to 6. Now, notice at some point in time, I'm going to have to deal with this negative 4 times. I'll have to divide by a negative. So I have to, in my back of my mind, I'm saying, hey, I want to reverse my inequality at some point in time. So I'm going to start out by subtracting 1 3 times. 2 minus 1 is 1. These guys cancel out. Less than or minus 4x. Less than or equal to 6 minus 1 is 5. Now, I'm going to divide by a negative here, all right? So I've got to think about reversing my inequality. I'm going to be dividing by a negative. 1 divided by negative 4 is a negative 1/4. These guys cancel out. X is equal to, let's see, this is a negative. Now, this is kind of going in a crazy order, all right? You got the bigger number to the left and the smaller number to the right. Negative 1/4 is bigger than negative 1/5. So I'm going to just flip this, all right? The negative 5/4 goes to the left. There's your x. The negative 1/4 ends up on the right. And these guys reverse themselves. All right, they reverse themselves. So x lies between negative 5/4 and negative 1/4. All right, so in interval notation, it would be a bracket at negative 5/4, comma, and a parenthesis at negative 1/4. This is probably the easiest way to pick the right solution. All right, so this is number 8, and number 8. He's got this. All right, it's hard to see here, but that is a bracket and that is a parenthesis. That's a little tough to see. That is a bracket and that is a parenthesis. Everything between a negative 1 1/4, 5/4, and 1/4, a negative 1/4. So right there, that's a negative 5/4, and that guy right there is a negative 1/4. So a bracket and a parenthesis, a bracket and a parenthesis. And these were close. I mean, they're all super close. This guy's got 2 brackets, that's why it wasn't him. Well, I take that back. This has got a parenthesis in that. These parentheses and these brackets look very similar, but that is a bracket and that is a parenthesis. All right, a parenthesis and a bracket. A bracket and a parenthesis. A bracket and a parenthesis. 8A. I'm not really happy how they do that. A bracket should be really, and that should be it. All right, how in there, even though you get the right answer, still wasn't that. Here's the deal. In most times when you have an OR situation, you're going to get your graph going in opposite directions, but not all the time. Let's see how this guy plays out. What we have to do is solve these individually. So number 9 starts out with a minus 6x plus 1 greater than 13. All right, so if I bring that over, or if I subtract 1, I can do it this way, the old-fashioned way. Minus 6x greater than or equal to 12. Division by a negative is going to reverse the inequality. All right, x is less than, positive divided by negative is negative. I got x is less than or equal to minus 2. All right, x is less than or equal to, this is number 9, less than or equal to a minus 2. Now, what's the back half of this? 5x plus 3 greater than or equal to a minus 17. So if I subtract 3, 5x greater than or equal to a minus 20. Dividing by a positive doesn't affect the inequality at all. All right, I'm not dividing by a negative like I was here, which meant I had to change the... Here I was dividing by a negative, that's why I reversed the inequality. Here I'm dividing by a positive. It starts out greater than, ends up greater than. X is greater than or equal to a minus 4. Now, let's just see how this plays out. The first part here says that x is greater than or equal to a negative 2. So greater than or equal to a negative 2 would be a bracket here. In fact, no, it's not greater than. X is less than or equal to negative 2. Let me just do this. X is less than or equal to a negative 2. So this is my 0, this is negative 2. Less than or equal to would be a bracket, and everything all the way out to negative infinity. Now what about the second part? X is greater than or equal to negative 4. Well, negative 4 would be about there, be a bracket. I've already got it shaded in, but everything to the right all the way out to positive infinity. So if you look at this, and my drawing isn't the best, but what I've got here in number 10, no, in fact, I'm not even doing 10. I'm actually doing number 9. I've got the entire number line. All right, this is what I've got. I got from here all the way to the end, and then starting here all the way out, and everything's included. All right, I got my whole number line from negative infinity all the way out to positive infinity. That's a different one. Now we got 10. So what have I got here? The first part of it, 4x minus 12 is less than negative 2.8. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to add 12 and add 12 and see what happens. These guys cancel out. 4x less than, let's see, 12 minus 2.8. 9.2. Yeah, 9.2 and 2.8, that's 12. You're dividing through by 4. X is less than, let's see, 2.3. X is less than 2.3. All right, once again, let's take a look at this. Parenthesis and parenthesis. Here I got parenthesis and parenthesis. Here I got a bracket somehow in a parenthesis. So not going to be a bracket. There's no greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. A little suspect about number 10. There's no solution. There's going to be a solution, all right. So it's either going to be A or B. So I get the first half done. It's less than, let's see if this is 0. This is 2.3. I've got a parenthesis here and everything that's smaller, all the way out to negative infinity. Now what's the second part of this? The second part of this is 4x minus 12 greater than 2.8. So adding 12, these guys would cancel out. 4x is greater than, looks to be 14.8. Dividing everything through by 4 here. 4's cancel. X is bigger than. That's 3.7. Alright, so 3.7. So let's see. If this is 2.3, 3.7 is somewhere's over here. And it's a parenthesis, and it goes all the way in the other direction to positive infinity. So if I look at this number 10, there's my 2.7 going to the left, and there's my 3.7 going to the right. All right, less than 2.3, parenthesis, and then greater than 3.7. Letter B, letter B. Alright, what have I got here? Take a peek at this. Strict inequality, parenthesis, strict inequality, parenthesis. Looks like I got 2 parentheses, but everything here looks like 2 parentheses. If I can actually show it to you. Parenthesis, strict inequality, parenthesis, 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 parenthesis. Alright, so there's no bracket, so everything is in the running. The first part of this, x plus 4 less than a negative 1/6. I'm going to subtract 4, A negative 1/6 and a negative 4 is a negative 4 and 1/6. X is less than a negative 25/6. That's the first part of that. Alright, so, and the second part x plus 4 is greater than 1/6. Subtracting 4, and I'm going to say subtract 4 over there. Let's see, 4 is the same as what? 4 is the same as 24/6. So I got a minus 1/6. A minus 4 is the same as a minus 24/6. So I got a positive 1 and a negative 24. X is going to be greater than a negative 23/6. Positive 1 combined with a negative 24 is a minus 23. So I got things going to the, first of all, less than 25/6, which is 4 1/6. This is number 11. All right, so that looks to be a negative 4 1/6 right there. And it's going to the left, getting smaller. All right. And this guy says x is greater than 23/6. 23/6 would be 3 5/6 negative. And there you've got it. All right. A negative 3 5/6. And the idea is you got one going to the left and one set going to the right. And this was close, but if you look at the graph here, this graph and that graph are exactly the same. So he's got the right graph, but he's got the wrong interval notation, because less than or equal to it, interval notation, this is going from that to negative infinity, and this is going out to positive infinity. What he's got here is the values in between these two. He's got a graph right, but he put the wrong interval notation. I mean, that would be everything between these 2 points. In actuality, they're going in opposite directions. So that was a different one, how he's trying to trick you on that. He had the right graph on both of these, but the wrong interval notation. That's the right graph, and that's the right interval notation. Less than goes all the way to negative infinity. Greater than goes all the way out to positive infinity. Positive infinity. All right. So same graph, different interval notation. What do we got? A bracket here and a parenthesis. Bracket, parenthesis, bracket, parenthesis. Bracket, bracket, parenthesis, and bracket. So we can't do anything. Everything's in the running. Everything's in the running. So solving the first part here. Negative 1 is minus 4x is greater than or equal to 6. I'm going to add 1 instead of bring it over. It's just as easy to do it this way. Minus 4x greater than or equal to 6 and 1. That's, in fact, already I copied it wrong. It's a positive 1. So I'm not adding 1. Slow down just a little bit here. I'm subtracting 1, and I'm subtracting 1. All right, the 1's cancel out. Minus 4x is greater than or equal to 6 minus 1 is 5. Now, I'm about to divide through by a negative 4, so I'm going to reverse my inequality. And x would be less than or equal to a negative 5/4. So what have I got here? This is my 0. I'm going to call this negative 5/4. It'd be a bracket going all the way to negative infinity. So already in the running. All right. Well, to be quite honest, I think I'm all done, because this has got negative 1/4. I'm looking for negative 5/4. All right. So this is what I've got here. I've got a parenthesis. And all right, that's what this relates to. All right, and the only time I see this from negative infinity to 5/4, including 5/4, is right here at letter D. Nothing else even has that. All right, so I'm looking strong at letter D, because I don't see that correct answer anywhere else. But just for argument's sake, let me finish it off. The last part of that is 1 minus 4x less than 2. So subtracting 1, these guys would cancel. I'd have a minus 4x less than 1. I'm going to divide through by a negative here. So I got to reverse my inequality. This is x is greater than a negative 1/4. So it would be, since it's a strict inequality, parenthesis at negative 1/4 going all the way out to infinity. Infinity is obviously a parenthesis. So you can see there's the back end of that, and that's why it's letter D. Alright, I don't think that was my best effort, but hope that helps.